Hello, guys, and we are back with another episode of Cocoa in the Sun podcast with your host, Malika. How's everybody today? So today we're going to start with chapter 2. I don't think we'll finish it because it's a long chapter, but we're going to start it. Also, I think this will be the last episode before the eclipse on April 8th. So I'm like, um, I don't know what this eclipse is going to bring. I'm curious to see because the last eclipse in October had a little bit of a change in my life. So I'm curious to see if this eclipse um brings something new. So the last thing was like a closeout, and I think this time, it may not be the eclipse specifically, but this time all the energies around the eclipse, curious to see if it brings something new, because it looked like it removed something the last time. Um, so yeah. And then like I've been seeing like, I don't know, but been getting a lot of like synchronicities with this Jonah and the whale story. So I was looking at I had a friend talk about um some of her dreams. And then before that, like a few weeks ago, I was looking again at Ann Tucker YouTube channel, and like one of her channeled messages was she's talking about the solar eclipse, and she said like she's not an astrologer, but looking at it from what she's seeing and people are bringing to her attention, it seems to be like Jonah, the story of Jonah seems to be playing out in a way, because I think the eclipse passes um by two of the cities called Nineveh in the US. And I believe some more of the cities are close by. They're not in the path, but they're close by. I think there's a city of Jonah on the path, a city of God on the path as well. There was a God in the story as well. Gourd, like a gourd tree or something like that. Um, I think a city of Joppa is also on the path. And I think in the story he goes to Joppa to get away from going to Nineveh. He goes to Joppa and takes a ship from Joppa to Tashish. So he doesn't have to go to Nineveh. He doesn't want to go to Nineveh. He doesn't like the people of Nineveh. He considers them enemies, and he doesn't like that God is, I think he doesn't like that God is giving them a chance, right? He wants them um, to be dealt with, and he doesn't want to give them the warning. God tell him to go and give him. And so he goes on the ship, and of course, God is God of everywhere, sends a storm. The sailors, he tells the sailors to throw him into the sea, and God sends a big fish or whale. I think the story says big fish, but and he's in the belly of this big fish. He asks God, basically, he kind of repents and was like, okay, I'll do what you want me to do. And the fish spits him up in Nineveh, I think. So, like, I don't know, like, oh, and something too with one of the stars or the astrology in the sky at that time would also be the astrology of Cetus, which is also of a fish, a big fish, a sea monster. All of those things seem to be like pointing to something. Um, but again, I don't know. It could be, your own evolution is personal, and everybody's in a different spot and a different space in the spiral and stuff like that. So I don't know. But I am looking at it, and I'm really curious to see like, what occurs. Um, I hope it's good. And so that's it, I think. I don't want to share my friend's dream because it's her dream, and I'm not sure if she's like open to sharing her dreams and stuff like that. But if she does come on the podcast, um, maybe she'll talk about it. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Because I don't always share my dreams and stuff like that. Some of them, are personal. And some of them I'm still figuring it out, so who knows? Anyway, my hair looks like this today because I was combing it out to get prepared to do the podcast. And I was like, oh, it kind of looks like how a little bit like Hathors in the picture. So I was like, I'm gonna leave it. I mean, it looks a little wild. um, but I'm wild too. Wild is one of my aspects. I'm not only one thing, I'm many things. I'm all things. I'm nothing. And sometimes one thing. It can be anything. Anyway, so I decided to leave my hair like this. I don't know if after completing the video, I'll be like, no, it looks too crazy and not post the video, but I'll definitely post the podcast. For right now, I'm feeling the crazy hair and its connection to Hathor as we read the Hathor Material Chapter 2. Okay, so this chapter 2, is called The Human as an Energy System. Let me drink some coconut water. I really like coconut water. I like the fresh one, but if I can't get the fresh one, there's one in Publix I really like. Is it called cocoa water? It's decent. The bird song outside is so good. Sounds so lovely. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna start. Chapter 2, The Human. I feel like I'm all your face too much. And all your face. Let me see if I can come back a little bit. So it's not too much. I gotta find my spot. You know, I gotta find my spot. Okay. Chapter 2, The Human as an Energy System. As your elder brothers and sisters, we live in what you would term the fourth dimension, another frequency domain. And so our view or perspective of you is unique because we perceive you through an energy state that is different than ours. No, incorrect. Because we perceive you through an energy state that is different from yours. We are aware of you in terms of your interpenetrating fields of energy. The first of these fields, which is obvious to you, is what you would term your physical body, with all its various chemical, biochemical, and electrical processes extending through the trillions and trillions of cells that make up the space of your body, cells. However, when we see your physical body, we see it mostly in terms of space. We see it as a galaxy of stars. For each atom unto itself is much like a solar system, with the central sun as the nucleus and the planets as electrons spinning around. So it's like a tiny solar system. It's the description is so beautiful. And also like, as within, so without, as above, um, so below, right? The connection, like everything's just bigger, 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 like a different, a bigger version of everything's connected. I just really love it. The Hermetic alchemists, which came out of the Egyptian tradition, spoke of the law as above, so below, meaning that in all levels of creation, each level is replicated below it and above it. Thus, the solar system is a movement of planets around the central sun, and in the atom, the electrons move around the central nucleus. As your solar system is mostly space, so are you. Indeed, there are tremendous amounts of space within your physical body, and it is an illusion that you are solid. So we are like a galaxy of stars when they look at us. So like how you would see like the Milky Way is a galaxy with many different planets, not just our solar system, there's a lot of different solar systems in the Milky Way. And the Milky Way is one of, I think, billions of galaxies. And we look like a galaxy, each one of us. I love this. Indeed, there is a tremendous amount of space within your physical body, and it is an illusion that you are solid. Even your science has uncovered that you are more than 99% space. Wow, I didn't know that. 99%, more than 99% space. When we sense your physical body, we see it as spatial, not solid. Consequently, we do not sense your physical body in the same way as you do. We literally see you as a walking, moving galaxy of stars. Oh my God. So although the first field seems very physically solid to you, it is actually quite different from the standpoint of light, of energy. Interpenetrating this physical field is a second field of energy that we call the ka, which would be, in your understanding, the pranic body. Prana, as uncovered by the yogis of ancient traditions, is the essential life force in oxygen, but it's not merely what you term oxygen. Prana is amplified in large areas of vegetation and in large bodies of moving water. Prana is a life force, and this prana interpenetrates with the physical body, both the physical body and the pranic body, which we call ka. This ka is actually the source of life force moving through the first level of the physical field, the physical body. The ka is sometimes called the spiritual or etheric twin, since it is a duplicate of the physical in its energetic field, but at a subtler state of energy. Those familiar with Egyptian alchemy will recognize the term ka, which is the energy twin that can temporarily survive the physical body after death, though it is not the immortal soul. I'm going to read that over because I'm trying to understand it myself. Those familiar with Egyptian alchemy will recognize the term ka, which is the energy twin that can temporarily survive the physical body after death, though it is not the immortal soul. So it's like our energy body, but it's not the soul. Oh, I need to highlight that. I don't know why I thought the energy body was the soul. So there's a miscommunication there for me, a misunderstanding. Let me. Without the prana moving through your physical body and amplifying the ka, you would not be able to live. It is the very force of life itself. Therefore, some of the techniques we will be sharing with you are actually techniques to stabilize the pranic flow within the galaxy that you call your physical body, which is essential for health, for existence. You know what I also just thought of? Are there any galaxies that look exactly the same? Each galaxy looks different, right? Like, I don't understand why we try to look exactly the same and put limitations on our physicalities. I don't think all galaxies look the same. I'm going to Google it and see if every galaxy looks different. It has different properties. Okay. Although you have other subtle bodies called the emotional, casual, and astral bodies. So another thing I'm learning here, because I would have thought the car, the energy body, was the astral body, but the astral body is not. It's something else. What is, oh, the causal, not casual, causal. Okay, so let me read that again. Although you have other subtle bodies called the emotional, causal, and astral bodies, we will focus primarily on the car, since development of this body will give you a tremendous movement to higher consciousness. Looking at the diagram 1A and 1B, please note that all bipolar magnetic fields have similar shapes. Bipolar magnetic fields include such diverse forms as bar magnets, apples, planets, including Earth, and human beings. So we would be bipolar magnetic fields. And this is what it looks like. The 1A is a two-dimensional representation, and then 1B is a three-dimensional representation. So this one's two-dimensional, and this one's three-dimensional. It's basically a toroid, I think. That's what they call a toroid. Oh, they call it a tube torus. So imagine this around your body, like coming in and out. Through your head, through your crown chakra, out through your root chakra. And then, I don't know, I'm guessing. Don't take my word for it. In diagram C, they show us in diagrams. You will see a two-dimensional representation of the electromagnetic field surrounding the human body. Your human body then is a bipolar magnet that is with its central column, sometimes considered to be the central channel or the middle column. The pranic tube or the antakarana by various ancient esoteric traditions. All bipolar magnets, as your science has uncovered, emit a field that three-dimensionally resembles a donut-like shape called a tube torus. This field actually moves around the body three-dimensionally. And so this is the picture of the human toroid, torus tube. Kind of cool. Going right down through the middle of the tube, the middle of this donut-like shape is a channel of energy. This is actually the central column of the magnetic field that is emitted by the physical body. So this central column is the middle conduit, if you will, of an electromagnetic field that is the basis of life. In their esoteric understanding, many different cultures have touched upon and developed techniques involving the central column or pranic tube, as it is called sometimes. Therefore, in terms of yourself as an energy system, the key central field to turn your attention to, from our understanding, is the ka, the pranic body. How you draw in or do not draw in life force prana determines how much energy is available to your organs and bodily systems. The ka determines the clarity, the power, and the impact of your thought. Wow. And it also determines the quality of your emotion. If the car is disturbed, then the other fields are disturbed. The physical body operates at a lesser level of energy, thought is diminished, and emotions become perturbed. Then how do you bring more prana into the car so that it radiates out into the physical galaxy of your body and into the other subtle bodies as well? This is the central question that we would now wish to answer. The key lies in the pranic tube that extends down through the center of your body. This pranic tube roughly corresponds to a pathway that the yogis in your tradition of this planet call the, bear with me guys, okay? These are new words for me. Shushumna. The Shushumna is the pathway by which the Kundalini energy or life force rises from the base of the spine up through the various energy centers of the body, the chakras, into the head center. So the center of the body is where that's that tube, right? And this is where the energy, the life force rises from the base of the spine up to the various energy centers, the chakras. Here it meets the crown and opens consciousness to what would be termed cosmic consciousness, or the connection to the all that is, a very highly elevated state of consciousness. Although the energy of the life force moves up through this pathway called the Sushumna, if you do a physical dissection of the body, you will not find it. It is a subtle energy, but it exists. It is as real as anything else in your world, except that it is at a frequency domain that is outside the 1% of reality that you can perceive through your senses. However, the pranic tube, unlike the sushumna, does not follow the path of the spine, but forms a straight line from the crown at the top of the head down through the perineum, a point midway between the genitals and the anus. And they show us another diagram 2, the movement of energy and or light into the pranic tube, down from heaven or up from earth. That's diagram 2. Let's see it. Don't know. Yeah. So they're gonna teach us. 1 second. Okay. So the pranic tube actually extends into the earth. Depending upon the development of your consciousness, it will either be connected just slightly above the earth's surface, connected down below it, or down below it just a few inches, or it can connect down to the core of the earth itself. This pranic tube also extends above the head and can go up several feet or 7,000 miles, again, depending on the state of consciousness of the being. Generally speaking, if you touch your thumb and second finger together and make a circle, your pranic tube will be about the size of that circle. It does not bend with the spine, it extends. We can safely say in the way that we will be working with you from the top of the head down through the perineum. This pranic tube focus is the primary method we will utilize with you in developing your capacity to activate the car, to increase the flow of prana throughout the physical body. So they're going to give us exercises to use this pranic tube so that we could activate the car and increase the flow of life force, which will affect our physical body, our thoughts, our emotions, and our other subtle bodies. Said we have an emotional subtle, causal subtle body, and astral subtle body. Now, for your benefit, we would share 3 specific techniques to build a car, and then some thoughts concerning things we recommend you increase in your life and things we recommend you decrease in your life. I understand that you have free choice in this, and we make no judgment about what you choose to do or not do. From our perspective, if you wish to build a car, there are things you must do and things you must avoid. It is that simple. So let us turn our attention to the techniques to begin the process of becoming aware of the car and the pranic tube so that you can begin to build the energy mastery necessary for health and higher consciousness. Self-mastery exercise number 1, part A. In the first exercise, see diagram 2. You inhale up through the pranic tube that is connected through the earth. You breathe up into the pranic tube from the earth with one breath, and then you relax and let it go with a sigh. Then, with the second breath, you breathe in from above the head, bringing in celestial energy down into the body's pranic tube, and then again, you release the breath and sigh. Try this several times until you clearly sense a flow of energy in the pranic tube. I try to imagine it. So imagine breathing through the tube in the perineum, all the way going up to the crown, and then sighing. Then breathing from the crown, going down the perineum, and sighing and releasing. And then again, they had referenced this picture. Okay. All you're doing in this first step is to begin to sense the subtle flow of energy and prana moving up from the earth and into the pranic tube, and then down from the celestial realm into the pranic tube. It is probably easier if you play some type of relaxing music, since many people find that music supports their ability to relax, to turn inward, and thus allows them to facilitate this process. However, it can certainly be done without music, particularly by those who enjoy quiet time. It is especially powerful when done outdoors in the purity of nature. The car is crucial to the process of raising your vibration in the ascending spiral of consciousness, which we will discuss more thoroughly later on. The process of moving your entire being up the ascending spiral requires energy. It requires force, life force. And that life force is generated through the car. The actual source of the life force comes from all that is, and it emanates through all the particles and energetic streams that move through the universe. We are sure that we can identify times in your life when you have felt low in your life force. Your physical body would not function very well. Your emotional body felt disturbed. Perhaps you had erratic thoughts, difficulty focusing your attention, or impingements from the astral world in form of strange dreams that may have even intruded your conscious awareness during your waking hours. In such cases, what has happened is that the car has so depleted that it could not radiate out into the physical body, into the mental body and the emotional body, thereby creating the appropriate boundaries for these bodies. Since the converse is also true, it is advisable to form a relationship with the car, with the pranic body, so that everything is calculated to reinforce your life force. What you eat, what you drink, who you interact with, and the thoughts and emotions you entertain build or diminish your car. If you deliberately cause the pranic body to intensify and radiate into the physical body, then you will be prepared to begin the ascension process as we define it. Part B, the next step in the self-mastery exercise is to draw the prana into the pranic tube and then circulate it through the physical body. See diagram 3. This is diagram 3. I'm going to read what they say to do, okay? Step 1. As you did before, draw the prana up from the earth into your pranic tube as you inhale. Hold your breath for just a moment and then exhale with a sigh. Focus your attention on the pranic tube. Now inhale, drawing prana down from the head into the pranic tube. Hold the breath for a moment while you focus on the pranic tube. Exhale and sigh as you shift your awareness to your entire physical body. The prana will then flow out from the pranic tube into your body by the law of attention. Energy flows, energy follows awareness. That's why we have to imagine these things, because that's where we put our attention. Oh, well, see, I didn't know the law of attention. I kind of do, but I haven't seen it written out this clearly. Work with this until you sense a flow of energy from the pranic tube out into the physical body. So I'm going to try it 1 or 2 times, okay? So first up from the earth through the pranic tube. Sigh. Then from my head into the pranic tube. Focus on my whole body. I'm going to try it again. Okay. Diagram 3, the movement of celestial energy and earthly energy into the pranic tube and from there into the physical body. When you first begin the process, it may be a very subtle sensation, and some areas of your body will be more sensitized to the flow of prana than others, but eventually you will have the distinct physical sensation of the prana moving out into the physical body. As your awareness becomes more subtle, you may notice the prana moving into the subtle bodies as well. Let it interpenetrate and extend outward from your actual physical body. This allows you to truly increase the car to intensify the pranic body. After you've been able to master this level, you are ready for the third part. And the third part is the qualification of the energy you are bringing in through a specific emotional vibratory field. This field creates a high level of coherence in your system and is the strongest, most reinforcing vibratory field you can establish. This ideal quality, this emotional vibrational field, is what you call unconditional acceptance or unconditional love. So this is the third step. After you feel you have mastered parts A and B above, do not rush into part C until you fully and clearly feel the sensation of prana moving through the pranic tube and out into the physical body. Once you have attained the sensation of moving prana, the next step is to bring your awareness to the heart center, which is the center of the chest located right in front of the pranic tube. With your awareness in the heart center, recall the emotion of unconditional acceptance or unconditional love. The heart center or the heart chakra is not the same as the physical heart. The heart chakra is an energy vortex in the center of the chest, which has recently been scientifically measured and quantified. Indeed, scientific studies indicate that the chakras emit both sound and color. For further information, see Brain States by Tom Kenyon, US Publishing. Okay, part C. Step 1. Now place your awareness in the heart chakra at the center of the chest. Recall a feeling of unconditional love and unconditional acceptance. Make sure you're actually feeling the state. Thinking about it will not do. So you have to feel it. Step 2. With your awareness in the heart center and holding the feeling state of unconditional love and acceptance, inhale and draw prana up from the earth into your pranic tube. Hold the breath for a moment as you focus on the pranic tube, still holding the feeling state of love and acceptance. When you exhale, move your awareness into the physical body and allow the qualified prana to move out from the pranic tube into the entire body. Step 3, return your awareness to the heart center and holding the feeling state of unconditional love and acceptance. Once again, inhale and draw prana down from the space above your head into the pranic tube. Hold the breath for a moment and focus on the pranic tube, still holding the feeling state of love and acceptance. When you exhale, move your awareness into the physical body and allow the qualified prana to move out from the pranic tube into the body. Diagram 4 shows the heavenly and earthly energies moving into the pranic tube and then to the heart center chakra. The qualified energies are then circulated throughout the body. So this is diagram 4. So you're not to attempt this part C until you are able to complete and feel part 1 and 2. Okay. Okay. Now we realize that some readers may not have experienced true unconditional love or unconditional acceptance. For those of you who are in this position, set aside part C of the exercise for now. Continue to work with the first 2 parts of the exercise, drawing prana into the pranic tube and circulating it through the body. And don't worry about qualifying the energy for now. By the time you finish our discussion and exercises, you will find it much easier to access the feeling states of unconditional love and acceptance. For those of you who are able to access the feeling of unconditional love and acceptance, add this part to your practice. You will find it both strengthens your life force and your sense of well-being. However, you must actually practice this exercise for it to work. If you hold it as just another idea or concept, it will not affect the car. You must practice it. We indicated that there were things that we would like to discuss from our understanding that both improve and strengthen the car and also things that diminish it. If you wish to take this ascension journey, you will need to make the car as strong as possible. There are very clear guidelines, and of course, if you choose not to practice them, that is fine. There is no judgment. It is all free will and free choice. But if you wish to begin the ascension spiral through the different levels of your own being, you must strengthen your car and also realize that there are ways you can harm yourself. For example, if you have a bucket and you fill it with water from a well, and your goal is to take it to the garden and put it in the roots of the plants, but you don't punch holes in the bottom of the bucket and don't and then try to carry water back to the garden. Oh my God, I'm reading this terribly. I will start over. For example, if you have a bucket and you fill it with water from a well and your goal is to take it to the garden and put it into the roots of the plants, you don't punch holes in the bottom of the bucket and then try to carry water back to the garden, do you? No, because by the time you get there, the water will be gone. It is wasted effort. It is the same thing with this. There are only the first steps. There are many more advanced steps, but these first steps will put you well on the road to building your life force. We are not telling you to do or not do anything. We want to be very clear that you have free will and that your choices are your own responsibility. We're simply saying that from our experience in this process, and we have gone through this process, there are things that will help or hinder your ability to ascend through the different levels of your being. There are even things that will damage the car, and we want to let you know that those are so you can make an insightful decision about your actions and behaviors. The first thing we can discuss has to do with the life force you express sexually. The Palladians also spoke about that sex energy. And so does the manuscript the Mary Magdalene manuscript. It talks about sacred union and the sex energy. Okay. The first thing we shall discuss has to do with the life force you express sexually. The sexual energy is actually the manifestation of Ka through the lower centers. In terms of orientation, not in terms of value, meaning it is appropriately expressed through the genitals as procreation or as sexual pleasure. However, in building the car, you want to raise that energy by methods that will allow you to experience sexual bliss and ecstasy without depleting the life force. The ancient techniques for raising this energy can be found in books on Taoist yoga, Tantric yoga, and Kundalini yoga. So we won't go into those here. We would say that in using our methods, which became the underpinnings of Egyptian alchemy, you literally raise the life force into your higher centers by bringing that life force into all of your body. If you allow the pranic life force to express itself as a release of sexual fluids and energy only, then the prana is released through those lower centers. It is not elevated and will not have a long-term positive effect upon the car. If you express your sexuality too often, your sexuality, if you express your sexuality too often through the sexual act without retaining the sexual energy so it can circulate upward, you actually deplete the car. This will in turn deplete the organs of your physical body, deplete the immune system, and create other various decreases of energy within your cell as an energy system. Let us be very clear, however, that we are not saying to deny yourself sexual pleasure. There are methods that have been developed by Taoist sages and tantric yogis, which allow you to experience profound states of sexual bliss and ecstasy without depleting the car. In fact, these practices strengthen your life force and elevate consciousness. We suggest you explore these methods. Another thing affecting the car is the type of food that you eat and the type of fluids you drink. For the life force comes in from many areas. Generally speaking, humans have a tendency to get very agitated when someone tells them what they should do or not do in terms of dietary habits because people have great attachments to food. So we will give you a broad guideline here, leaving you to choose your path. Generally speaking, to build a car, eating live foods will assist the process, but you want to do this in balance. If you're not used to eating live foods, meaning uncooked vegetables and fruits, as well as sprouted grains, slowly begin this change. Add live foods to your diet in a way that feels comfortable. Adding too much live food without proper preparation, that is not giving your body a chance to adjust to the higher enzyme levels, can lead to a detoxification crisis. In all things, moderation is best. Listen carefully to your body and not to your personality whims. Your body will tell you what it needs and what is best. This may be paradoxical, but when you reach a certain point in consciousness, you can eat anything without negative effects. Ultimately, food has very little to do with spiritual evolution. However, our advice is given for the average person who wishes to strengthen his or her car. Most people will experience an increase in vitality if they start adding more live foods to their diet. As a general principle, life force is only increased by other life forces. Your fast foods are dead. And those items you call foods generally deplete the car because they require so many digestive enzymes to process these dead foodstuffs. You see, one of the major drains on the pranic fire on the pranic body is the digestive process. Much prana is actually required to digest food, especially meat. What happens is that the prana gets stepped down from the car's faster vibratory field into the physical body's digestive process with its system of ductless and ducted glands requiring many digestive enzymes to be produced and secreted. This is a strain on your energy. So watching what you eat and eating as purely and cleanly as possible will reinforce your car. Pure water is also critical, as is exercise. In addition, be around nature as much as possible, breathing fresh air that is unpolluted and allowing yourself to be safely exposed to sunlight, especially through your eyes. This means wearing sunglasses as little as possible unless the sun is so very bright that you really need to protect your eyes. These are just some simple suggestions to incorporate into your life until into your life should you wish. In no way are we giving medical advice or suggesting unsafe experimentation. You will find as you build a car, the pranic force, and as you hold the intention to elevate yourself in consciousness, that you will begin to have intuitions and inner understandings about things that are very valuable. This is called gnosis. Gnosis means knowledge, and it comes as a feeling, a sudden knowing. Gnosis then is refinement of your feeling nature, which naturally evolves as the car is strengthened, and which provides a deeper soul connection. Now we pause to ask for your questions, Virginia. Virginia, would you like to add some further comments in this chapter about what would help increase our car? I sense that you have an enormous reservoir of information about this topic. The Hathors. Well, we are glad you asked that because there are so many areas to work in which can strengthen the car. But we are a little timid, knowing human nature as we do, about giving a list of things to avoid lest people become rebellious. Virginia, understood. But I encourage your full comment for those who can benefit. The Hathors. We have noticed a tendency for many people to overstimulate themselves, to push themselves beyond their physical limit. When you are fatigued and you push yourself further through artificial means, such as stimulants, your car can get depleted. As the physical body reserves get depleted, this eventually sets up a very negative set of circumstances leading to physical problems. Beyond that, if the car becomes completed, you cannot move forward along the ascending spiral. So it is a balance of rest, exercise, and movement, wise choices about what to eat and drink, and consciously maintaining positive thoughts and actions. Of course, the types of people you associate with also have an effect on your car. Those who are positive, vital, and uplifting in their nature tend to reinforce your car, whereas those who are negative, pessimistic, and depleting will tend to deplete you. So making decisions about those with whom you live and work based on car is another aspect. Please understand that we are not giving you a new list of 10 commandments to follow. We want to avoid that, but we do encourage you to remember that finding your balance is vital. And that's the intention behind our comments in these important areas. Virginia, I wonder if you might also discuss safe healing practices for those people who share their healing energies with others. Things like acupressure, massage, various bodywork techniques, as well as the laying on of hands, faith healing, etc. These kinds of healing using personal touch are becoming very popular in America. Hathors. Well, let us give a little caution here to all but the very purest of healers. We would say to healers that you need to be aware that there is a very distinct possibility of danger when working with other people's energy unless you are very pure. For example, an improperly purified healer who works with someone who is ill may actually feel depleted after working with this person, or they may later have a healing crisis themselves to face. Some healers may discover to their dismay that after they have brought through healing energies for another person, their own car is depleted, although they do not feel the result immediately. The reason for this, from our understanding, has to do with where the healing energy is coming from and the state of personal unawareness the healer is in. Essentially, what happens is when a person is in need of healing, there is a level of self, not necessarily conscious, that pulls energy from whomever and whatever is available. If you are a healer and you are with someone who is in need of a type of energy that you have, they will pull it from you either consciously or unconsciously. Virginia, are you speaking of highly subtle energies or more physical body energies? We are speaking about subtle energy, the vital energy, prana, which is held by the ka, the spiritual twin of the physical body. Because the ka holds life force and vitality, a healer, if she or he is proficient, is basically a vital, fully charged individual. When your energy feels your luminous eggs are interconnected, there are strands sent from the one who needs energy to the one who has energy. The needy one pulls energy like water from a well. And this is usually an unconscious thing because it automatically happens at another level of self. Indeed, this is the true symbolic meaning of the word vampire. You can be vampired of your energy. And we're not talking about sucking someone's blood. We are talking about pulling someone's vital energy from their car. If you are not prepared and don't understand this, you can be with someone who's physically and or emotionally depleted or who may be psychologically disturbed. And after you leave them, you feel depleted yourself. This is one reason why some nurses, doctors, and other health caregivers often feel drained. Well, I can attest to that as a nurse. They are frequently surrounded by the sick who drain their car for healing energy. Transfusions of energy, not just blood, are possible. So this is the first level of energy. It's a vitality that can be pulled or drained by another person. If you're not aware of your car and how it's being extracted from you, then you may suddenly feel as if the plug has been pulled. There's no energy left in your body, so you must go off and replenish it. Another level of energy depletion is not directly related to the car, but is related instead to the subtle emotional flows within one's emotional body. These emotional flows are affected by the healer's thoughts and feelings about the person being healed. These emotional flows can also be the result of the healer's agendas. In other words, a purposeful strategy by which a healer is trying to force a healing through his or her own will. As a healer, one needs to be very clear mentally and emotionally as to where the healing is coming from and why one is in the act of healing another. Even the innocent desire to help, to be a good person, or to be a hero are potential contaminants, as well as possible sources of distortion and depletion. If you, as a healer, are sending the energy from yourself, from your own vitality, then of course you are in trouble because you personally have only a limited amount of energy that is available to you until you replenish it. Virginia, like a battery system? Hathors, yes, a very apt metaphor. If you are very clear that you're a channel for the prana, the energy, that the healing energy simply flows through you and not from you, then you're not giving away your own energy, but merely channeling the energy from a higher source. If it flows through you without the blockages of limiting motives, this purity will reduce much of the fatigue and exhaustion that some healers are experiencing. Virginia, let me be explicit here. Are you confirming our current teachings that say that these more subtle energies should flow only from a higher source through the healer? Hathors, yes. Prana, or the fundamental energy of life, is omnipresent and can be funneled or channeled from the omnipresent source of energy. One does not have to use one's own energy to give to another. Always be clear that you are drawing from the greater source. The other issue is being clear about your own car and your own life force so that you can sense when your energy is being drawn from you. Unfortunately, most humans are not aware when the energy is being vampired or pulled from them until after the fact, until they are exhausted. Virginia. Now, we don't want to discourage people who are compassionate and who desire to be useful to others. What summary can you give to encourage people as they learn to become healers? The Hathors. We suggest a simple method of protecting yourself when healing another person. You simply focus some part of your attention on the pranic tube that goes through the center of your body, as discussed in the first exercise in this chapter. This tube connects you to both heaven and earth. And by connecting the two through your own body, the omnipresent healing energy will more fully move through you, and you will, at the same time, be more grounded, balanced, and aware. Virginia. If someone who thinks of him or herself as a healer is going through physical or emotional difficulties in their own life, is it likely to be harmful to attempt to give energy away at that time? It's harmful for them to give energy away. I don't know why I keep saying aware. It is harmful for them to give energy away at any time. Virginia, understood. My question was poorly stated. Is it likely that the healer, in their stress and emotional upset, would have a tendency to be imbalanced and not even notice it? The Hathors. Yes, when one is physically weary, feeling low, or emotionally worried, it is best not to work with another person. Be honest and tell the other person your situation. Virginia. Rather than force yourself to be available inappropriately. Hathors. Yes. It's a disservice to the one receiving the healing energy, because if you are emotionally disturbed, your emotional body is vibrating and holding patterns and energies of limitation. If the person has come to receive healing, their car is probably depleted to begin with, and they may take on your negativity, your imbalanced energies. Virginia. So coming back to ways in which healers could test themselves before offering healing. If they've been sick or in some kind of upset or emotional difficulties, they should take a reflective time to check themselves out to see if they are really capable of doing their best work. Hathors, yes, and it usually only takes a few moments to check in with oneself and get a very clear, honest assessment. Virginia. So following any healing session with another person, it's good to double check to be sure that the healer has really received energy from the highest level and that their own energy is okay. Yes, Virginia. To recap, we've said that checking one's energy and emotional state before one attempts to give healing energy to another is a very good thing to do. Then, following a healing session, the healer should check and be sure the energy level is high and they haven't lost something along the way. Hathors. Yes, and we would also add that as a healer, you need to cultivate an awareness of your own car, your own vitality. It is possible, by the way, for a person to pull on another individual's energy, even if they are not within proximity of each other physically. It can be done from thousands of miles away. As a healer is working with a person, it would be a higher level of mastery to monitor one's own vital force while the healing session is going on. The way the healer can sense if there is any drain on their vital energy and make adjustments immediately rather than after depletion occurs. Obviously, it is far easier to accommodate and adjust to depletion before one is truly physically exhausted. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . . 。 . . . . . . . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . 。 . . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . Oh, Virginia, agreed. Is there anything else you'd like to say about healing energies, the car, and the more subtle frequencies before we leave the topic? The Hathors. The highest healing comes from the source of all that is, the one beyond the duality, what the Egyptian calls the Netta Nettaru, the supreme being, the Godhead, whatever words you use. For obvious reasons, it is better to use the infinite reservoir of the source rather than one's own energy. The prana is not the most subtle energy, even though it is more subtle than the physical. There are energies that are closer to the supreme being in vibration. These energies have more powerful healing properties. So the higher one ascends in vibration, to use the term, the closer one will get to the source, where one can then draw on those subtle energies. The purer you are, the more powerful your healing results will be. Virginia. Because those higher energies will contain the composite of all that is needed. Hathors, yes. Virginia. Right now, in what we call the healing interest groups, there are quite a variety of patterns in which people simply infuse energy, presumably from a higher force which flows through their own beingness to others, which we've been discussing. At the same time, there also seems to be an awakening in some healers that helps them notice spiritual, psychic energy blockages that a person is holding, either at the physical or emotional level, which is causing the depletion of energy. So, is there anything you'd like to say about the way in which healers themselves may be discovering a higher evolutionary understanding about the use of energy? Half of us. Hold on, guys. I need to listen. It's Vita Coco. I like that one. That coconut water. Vita Coco. I think it's okay. But you know, the fresh one is the best. Hathors. As a healer's mastery evolves, he or she reaches the point where it is possible to dissolve an energetic block or dissolve a crystallized pattern through a skillful manipulation of energy. This level of mastery is a natural development. However, there is a fine line between seeing the need for a change and forcing that change. The healer must ascertain whether the time is right for the change or not. In the final analysis, the choice for this change must come from the one being healed and not from the healer. Healers who impose their will onto others, even to be helpful, will find that such manipulations, no matter how skillfully applied, are ultimately ineffective. Healers must also understand that there is no accident in who comes to them for healing. The persons they attract to themselves are often a reflection of the healer's own psycho-spiritual issues. So, in the process of healing and being a conduit for higher energies, the healer is also a learner. If healers remain humble and open to their clients as reflections of their own process, they can grow even more in self-awareness and compassion. Finally, healers need to be clear that others have a right to suffer. Do not impose your timetables upon another. Grant the space and the grace for others to move into greater awareness at their own speed. Do you have any further questions, Virginia? Yes. One question did come to mind when you were discussing the opportunity of using sexual energy for consciousness advancement. Does this apply to the increasing numbers of people who are called homosexual? How can a man safely have sex with a man? And how can two women use sex to expand their consciousness without the sharing of semen? What have you noticed that could be spoken to guide these individuals? That's the Hathors. There is nothing intrinsically limiting about the homosexual or lesbian lifestyle in terms of the car, if the sexual energy is elevated. If men in a sexual relationship with each other were to practice the ancient Taoist and Tantric methods for sexual pleasure without ejaculating, they would strengthen the car, elevate the sexual energy to the higher centers, and experience more intense levels of pleasure. When the sexual energies are elevated, it is possible for every cell of the body to go into orgasmic ecstasy. Men generally confine orgasms to the pelvic area, but as we work with these ancient methods, they will discover that orgasm need not be limited to one area. Generally speaking, a woman's vitality, her car, is stronger than a man's. This is genetically determined since women have to lend their car if they carry children. The fetus actually draws upon the mother's car to develop and to be birthed. This is one reason that mothers and their children often have powerful and deep bonds to each other. So women are predisposed to having stronger cars than men. They also tend to be more sensitive to cellular orgasm, though men can certainly develop the ability. Women in sexual relationships with each other can use their sexual energy to expand their consciousness by bringing the rush of orgasm up the pranic tube during orgasm, and from there circulating it through the body. The Taoist and Tantric methods used by women are similar for those used by men, except that, of course, there's no need to retain semen. From an energetic standpoint, all persons are both male and female. At the subtle levels of energy and consciousness, you are potentially androgynous, meaning balanced between the sexual polarities of your being. And thus, it is not necessary from an alchemical standpoint to have a partner in order to elevate your sexual energy. Virginia, thank you. For those readers who are and will be celibate, is there any comment you would make about celibacy's relationship to ascension? Hathors. The ancient understanding of celibacy has, for the most part, been lost. In the mastery schools of ancient Egypt, there were certain periods when the initiate was temporarily required to remain celibate. The purpose was to allow students to explore their own sexually based energy patterns. By entering these realms of the self, the initiate could facilitate the merging of the male and female aspects, an event termed the alchemical marriage. Now, however, celibacy has simply become avoidance or suppression without any understanding of the energetics involved. You don't need a sexual relationship to reach high states of consciousness, since the sexual energy can be circulated internally without the need of a partner. If one practices celibacy and at the same time stimulates the life force to rise from the root and sexual centers near the base of the spine, one will experience bliss and ecstasy. As the released energy moves up the spine into the higher centers, it opens higher states of awarenesses and consciousness. For those choosing the celibate path, we will encourage learning how to circulate one's sexual energy internally. True celibacy is not suppression, but rather a raising up of the life force. Within you is a power and a mystery, the power and mystery of life itself. It is a precious gift that has been given. Cherish it, honor it, fathom it with your heart and mind. May you find its source, and may that source lift you up into the heavenly realms of consciousness. I actually completed chapter 2. So next episode we will we will do chapter 3. I think that's as far as I got in this book, actually. Oh my goodness. That was terrible. I should not have you on the camera. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, so let's see what chapter 3 has in store for us on the next episode. Until next episode, I wish you lots and lots of love. I hope you know you are loved. I hope you know you are loved. I hope you're gentle with yourself. If you want to try these exercises out, try it out. We also remember the Pleiadians gave us an exercise as well, right? But the same, I think they had a column of light that comes through the head, down through the earth, and we were to see the light diffuse throughout the whole body, and I think see it come out, is it the solar plexus, to make a shield. So this light that we're supposed to be envisioning seems to be important because it's kind of similar to what the Hathors are mentioning. They're also saying to see the light come, but to see it come from both ways. And so celestial energy and earth energy, and also to see it go through the whole body. And then like if you have experienced unconditional love and can hold the feeling, to hold the feeling and bring it through your heart chakra to the rest of your body if you're able to do that. If not, they say don't don't do that third part yet. So, but it's really interesting to see how that works, you know, and then they give some mention of other things we can do in the physical world to help our car, as well as how we work with our sexual energy to improve the car. And that's the same kind of thing that the Mary Magdalene manuscript was talking about too, that car energy from sexual energy. So very interesting. Very interesting. Anyways, so if I don't see you until next week, have a great weekend. And I hope you have, if you are interested in solar eclipse, you have a great day. Brings you great, good blessings. But also if it brings lessons, that they are lessons that help us get better, have better lives, bring us closer to ourselves, some connection to self and the divine and our humanity. Yeah. Anyways, so that's it for today, guys. Hope you have a great evening.